Welcome back to the End Zone right here at 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. We are Acadiana Sports Station. Now let's go to the Acadiana Security Plus hotline and bring in Kevin Irvine, who writes for Bobcat Illustrated for Fox Sports and Scout.com. He's also the Texas State beat writer for the New Bronzeville Herald. And, man, it's great to have him on. Kevin, how are you this afternoon?
It's Kevin, and I'm doing good, actually. Nice to be on.
Kevin, are you making your trip down to Lafayette?
I am not. You know, budgets are tight these days, but thankfully, the CW Austin, the wonderful people over there, picked up the game, so we'll be watching The Office.
Cameron, that's kind of how we are here. I mean, we have this tropical storm that may come up, so we're lucky that if it gets too bad, we can always just stay home and watch it on TV. For UL fans who aren't really used to seeing Texas State, and this is the first time these two teams have ever played, what can UL expect?
Well, you can expect a lot of the unexpected. Last week, the true freshman quarterback got the start as they benched the senior Tyler Arndt. Tyler Jones got the start, went 14 of 18 passing, and as maybe a lot of Raging Cajun fans know, in a 42-21 defeat of Wyoming, I think that shocked a lot of people. The fact that Texas State has wins over two Conference USA opponents in the last 2 years on the road, and a home win over Mountain West School in the last 2 years. And they certainly can expect a lot of new. Two freshmen starting line, a bunch of guys in the backfield that can get it done in the running game, and Texas State's third-ranked run defense gets their biggest test on Saturday.
Cameron, I've been looking online at some of Texas State's facilities. I mean, the stadium that y'all have just finished remodeling themselves well as they make the full transition to the Football Bowl subdivision, despite what happened in the WAC. I mean, some of the facilities are really amazing for you guys.
Yeah, that's one of the highlights for Texas State. They've done a lot of stuff, not just with football, but the baseball stadium and the softball stadium was renovated and reopened in 2008. They, were up to 30,000 capacity, got 33,000 in the building when Tech came and obliterated them last year. But yeah, the facilities look real nice, and they're making a lot of strides. And there have been some growing pains, but I think the biggest difference that not a lot of people see as outsiders to San Marcos is the fan base. The fan base used to be if they win, they win. If they lose, they lose, and very carefree. There's a lot of passionate fans. But I would say about 1,500 fans were still there after the 3.5-hour rain delay last week. It's really been something special to be a part of.
We're talking with Cameron right here at 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. He is the lead writer for Bobcat Illustrated, a Scout.com website for Fox Sports. I mean, it's a great website. When you look at this game, you guys are going with a freshman quarterback going into it. Francione made the switch to him. What can you tell us about your young gun freshman QB?
He's a good tech guy, and he's a pretty quiet guy. And before the season started, Fran said that he had a chance to become the starting quarterback. I think when the senior got to start 3 games in a row, and Tyler Jones had not played at all, people were starting to thinking, well, maybe he had a shot, but he just wasn't good enough this year. But that was not the case. I think the coaching staff, they said they were ready to make the change. And he's good runner, but very accurate passer. I wouldn't say he has the strongest arm in the world, but, I mean, the stat line from last week proves it exactly, that, only missing on 4 passes, only 1 bad pass, and now he got baited into throwing an interception. If Texas State can play turnover-free football, that has been their method of success recently, just relying on that defense and getting just enough offense to squeak it out.
Let's talk a little bit about the game plan for Texas State. What do you guys need to do successfully to stop UL this weekend?
Well, I think this is really the first true test for this run defense. Playing teams like Texas Tech, Wyoming, Southern Miss, those are pass spread them out offenses. And while the defense does hold their third best ranking as far as run defense goes, that they really haven't necessarily played a team that really runs the ball real well, as Lafayette does. And I think that's the biggest test. I think for Texas State, to win this ball game, they still have to go with their MO, which is making teams play one-dimensional and putting all the pressure on Broadway. And he had his best game last week against Akron with his 3 touchdowns, and that will be a challenge.
Going back to your offense, I mean, UL has shown that they have some issues in that secondary so far this year. Is your young quarterback, is he good enough to kind of take advantage and to see just how far UL's defensive secondary has become?
We don't know because last week, obviously, the game was a mess with the 3.5-hour delay. I know that everybody in the press box was just fed up with having to sit there and wait any longer. But what he was able to show last week was promising. But that was really the first time that we had ever seen Tyler Jones throw a pass in any sort of game situation. And he played well this past week. The Texas State coaches are not known for letting the quarterback let free. Really like to rely on the running game and get what they can out of the passing game. But Tyler Jones, is he capable? I would say yes after last week, but you never know with a true freshman back there. Only one start. This will be his first road start, and you never know how guys are going to handle that.
We're talking with Cameron Irvine, who is the Texas State beat writer for the New Bronzeville Herald. He also is the co-publisher of Scout.com, Texas State affiliate Bobcat Illustrated, right here at 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. He's on the Acadiana Security Plus hotline. Talking to a couple of the UL coaches yesterday, they basically said that they're going to try to run down the throat of Texas State. Who on that defensive line is going to be in charge of stopping this running game?
Well, they've got a couple of guys. Blake McCulloch on the line is a standout, but really they're shining their linebacking core. They really do a good job. Texas State was 4-2-5 last year, but there were so many good linebackers that they switched to a 3-3-5 this year primarily. And their linebackers, Michael Arakpo, David Mayo, who had a couple of interceptions against Southern Miss in the opener, which really sealed it for the Bobcats in that game. Those guys, they fly all around all over the field, and the linebackers are really, that's kind of what had made this defense go. And Jordan Miffley on the defensive line as well is a big standout, but the linebackers certainly are threatening in both the run and the pass.
Cameron, when you look at this Texas State team, give me 3 keys for a Texas State victory.
Well, I think Texas State does have to stop the run. They can't, they can't let Lafayette do what Lafayette wants to do, which apparently is to run down Texas State's throat. They have to put the pressure on Broadway, and they have to make them one-dimensional. That's what they did to Wyoming last week, and it resulted in Brett Smith's worst performance of the year. And that is really crucial for Texas State to get a victory. The true freshman on the road can't make mistakes. He I'm sure learned from his bad interception last week, but he's got to duplicate his performance in some form or fashion against Lafayette to really give the Bobcats a chance. Before they scored 42 points, the Texas State offense, I mean, we've been talking about the punter this year more times than I think we have before in a long time, and he's been a big key, but you obviously don't want to see him out there too much. So Jones taking the reins and really establishing that it's his job for a long time is certainly key. And Texas State, the last time they won on the road, they forced 6 turnovers against Southern Miss. They were all over the place. They really bothered them, and they're going to have to make some plays. That's what it takes to win on the road. It's especially in Lafayette, where Lafayette, I believe, in the last 3 years only lost 1 home game. I might have that stat wrong, but you guys are excellent at home. And Texas State's defense, well, is going to have to make some plays. They're going to have to win the turnover battle. And that's about it. That's really what drives this Bobcat team so far this year.
Cameron, you can say y'all. We're still here in the South.
What was that?
I said you can still say y'all. We're here in the South, man.
Yeah. You never know how people are going to judge you.
No, we never judge for good old y'all. I promise. We're talking with Cameron Irvine right here at 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. He's on the Acadiana Security Plus hotline. Talk more about the special teams. I mean, how is your kick return game, and especially, you talked about the punter. How's your kicker?
Man, I tell you what, the special teams has been the definition of the mixed bag this year. Every time I ask Fran if he's still having nightmares about the kicking game, he gives me one of those death stares. And the punting game has been tremendous. Zach Robinson, who might just be the coolest punter in the world, he's got a lot of interesting stories and tattoos. And Robinson is a cool guy, and he's having a career year. And it's really given Texas State a great field position all year long and pinning opponents back. As far as kick return, of course, Andy Erickson, he was number one last year in punt return yardage, our average, which is 16.7. I believe he's at 13.9 this year, which is 19th best in the country. So, I mean, Erickson is a great punt returner. Kick return game, Japhus Gaines was very good last year. He's been hurt all year long. He was expected to be available for Saturday's game. Not quite sure if he's going to play, but that would be a big weapon for Texas State. Now, as far as the kickers, well, we're 0 for 5 this year. That partially has to do with some blocking assignment issues, and that just partially has to do with just not converting. It's actually the highest amount of field goals kicked without a make this year in the country. If it comes down to a game-winning field goal, I'm not quite so sure if Fran would just put it in the hands of a true freshman and throw it up for grabs. But we'll see. We'll see if Texas State can actually get their first one this week.
Then you have Troy. So, yeah, conceivably, you guys can get to 6 wins and become bowl eligible. That's great for a program so young into the FBS.
Well, yeah, Georgia State, who is the biggest joke on the FBS landscape right now, who will probably lose by 85 to Alabama this week, and Idaho are left on the schedule for Texas State. So if you're looking at that as not any sort of letdown, I mean that's 5 wins for Texas State, and you guys are in a similar position with New Mexico State on y'all's board.
Yes.
Notice I didn't stutter through the y'all that time. I appreciate y'all making me feel comfortable.
No problem.
But yeah, I mean, conceivably, it's looking like potentially a bowl year for Texas State if they get invited. And I've been really pleasantly surprised at how unknown the Sun Belt looks this year. It seems like, I mean, South Alabama, I didn't think too much of them beforehand, but their victory to start conference season against Western Kentucky, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes to the balance of the conference. And I think that for Texas State to be bowl eligible, however, the wins on the road, at Troy, at Lafayette, I mean, these are the games that really make or break a program season. And it will be very interesting to watch it transpire. I know that Texas State fans may not know a lot about Lafayette, but you guys have had some tremendous programs over the year, and you certainly are respected.
Cameron, before I let you go, give me your prediction.
I'm always very pessimistic. I know that there's some Texas State people that may not like me because I often look at the glass half empty, like I got last week's pick wrong. I picked against Texas State. One time this year, last week, I picked against them and I lost it. I don't know. I feel confident in Jones. He's a freshman quarterback, but I'm going to continue to stay grounded. I think Lafayette wins by field goal.
Cameron, give out your Twitter handle if you got one.
Sure, I do. It is at TXST, CAM, Irvine, IRVINE.
Cameron, I really appreciate you coming on the program with me. Enjoy this weekend, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Once again, that was Cameron Irvine right here on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. We got to get to a quick break here for the End Zone. Hour number 1, wrapping it up. Next, don't go away.